We've mentioned many times in our videos and in trainings that before we decide to embody, we choose certain situations that we want to experience and go through. But once we get here, we forget all about that. So how do we know what it is that we chose here to come and do and what we chose to go through? Well, stay tuned and we'll go through all of it with you. Part 3 of 3. We are going through life lessons. These are ideas of what you could possibly be experiencing in this current life because you chose to go through certain experiences in this lifetime. Honey?
Ola, most beautiful woman in all of the universe and all the planets. And I mean all, like Mars, Saturn, and the ones that I even know about, right?
Okay.
Okay.
We've been going through, we've had part 1 and part 2, and we've been through many different possible lessons that someone could be experiencing in their current life. What is the next one to cover?
Before we get to the next one, I like how you said that they decided, right? They chose.
Mm-hmm.
And many times we forget that we choose these lessons. So when we experience them, of course, we're saying, why is this happening to me? Why is God doing this to me? So it's just a nice reminder, whether or not you believe in karma or you believe that you actually chose these, that's the reality of it. That's the way it goes. So just want to remind everybody, these are not things that people are doing to you. These are not things that are happening to you. These are lessons that you chose to learn in this lifetime. Okay, and the best way to deal with them is just have fun with them, enjoy them, because you know that you're growing from each one is a growing experience.
Okay.
All right, so the next one that we're going to deal with is guilt.
Guilt. Okay.
Why do you say it like that?
Because so far, every single lesson you've covered, I think, is one that I chose to come and deal with in this life, and guilt is another one.
Well, see, you keep saying that, but I've been married to you since Jesus got crucified. So there is no way that you could have taken all these, because you might think that you agreed to all these as life lessons.
Uh-huh.
But I think that the ones that will be life lessons for someone are the ones that they're having a really big challenge with, as in it's holding them back.
Okay, so it's happening more than once for them, or?
It's not even about that, it's just holding them back.
Okay.
You know, so I think that it's, a lot of people feel some feeling of guilt every now and again, but it doesn't hold them back.
Got it.
So I don't think that's a life lesson, that's just my personal opinion.
Well, that seems to make sense, though, because,
Right.
I mean, I could say that I've experienced everything we've talked about so far to some level or extent, but they're not holding me back.
That's correct. Now, when we talked about change,
Yes.
I felt that held you back.
In
for a long
the
time.
in the past it
So
did.
I felt that that was a life lesson for you to experience. Because I saw you at that point and what you were like.
And also fear.
Fear, exactly.
Fear was
as
another
well.
big one.
That's correct. But the other ones, I think there might be something minor there, but I don't think it's a life lesson. It's just what you normally go through in a lifetime.
Just regular balancing of karma.
That's correct. But
Okay.
then I feel that a life lesson is something that you really, not you, but anybody would really struggle with. They have a hard time with it. You know, it holds them back. It's a block. And that's how you know this is something that I chose and I accept it and I'm going to deal with this. Because that's how you get over it. You have to accept it as, okay, this is my doing, my choice, and now I'm going to have fun with this. until it disappears, right?
Right.
So, I hope that helps you understand that no, you're not a brave soul. You might think you are. You're trying to claim that.
Yes.
It has to be something that's really holding you back.
Okay.
And there are souls like that. I know maybe two, I could say, are really brave. Mm-hmm. I commend them. I give them a medal because there's no way. I don't care what God tells me, I would not take on more than one or maybe two maximum. I would not do more than that. And I believe I've only taken one, if any.
Well, you're here, so you've taken at least one.
No, probably half. They're probably let's give him half, just so he can leave heaven. That's what they probably did. So guilt is the next one, right?
Okay.
So you were saying you felt that you were dealing with that? I don't think so.
Well, feeling guilty, like everything was always my fault.
Right, but what I'm saying, I think that in your case, that is true. You did that for a while there.
I did. I blamed myself for everything that happened. You could trip and fall, and I'd say, oh, that was my fault. I should have been watching where you were going.
Right. So they could tell me not to step over there.
Exactly.
Because you're all-knowing. And
that's right, because I was psychic and didn't know it.
1-800. Yeah.
So anytime anything happened, anything went wrong, yes, I had to be the blame. Even in the beginning of our relationship, when we were just friends, if you got upset with me for any reason, I did something wrong. At least that's how I saw everything. Or if you raised your voice at me, I automatically did something wrong. And you could have just been getting my attention. So.
You think that much about yourself? That want to get your attention?
No, like to do something, or to, not to get my attention isn't like, let's go be romantic. No, it's I need you to get this done. Hello, wake up, that kind of thing.
Man, you did act that way. I would even ask you, why do you think everything is your fault? Mm-hmm. I would ask you that many times.
Yes.
And then you start crying.
Yes, I would.
I have to stop asking this person questions, as you just cry for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So no, but do you have any one that you can think of that really has or had a challenge with guilt without naming a name of any kind? Because I remember yours, but to me, as much as that happened, that wasn't much of a big deal to me. And maybe because I've forgotten what it was like back then. Mm-hmm. I do remember you feeling guilty about things, but I don't think it went to the extreme, like I've seen with some individuals. Well,
I'm trying to think of an individual we've worked with, and the only thing that I can imagine is maybe.
You should take your hand.
Sorry, I was thinking maybe one of the women who had terminated a pregnancy and carried that guilt for so long and finally released it.
Wow, is that a life lesson in guilt?
I don't know. Huh. That was the only one that popped into my head.
I don't even remember what you're talking about. So things like that I kind of don't think about.
Yes, I know.
So, but I that would be a tough one. Yes, that would be a tough one. But I know that I've also met individuals, and not through One Night Division, just before we embarked on this journey of I think even before I met you, where they felt guilty maybe because now they didn't get along with their family members or with their siblings, and they felt that it was their fault, or they didn't get along with their parents and they felt that it was their fault. And then I would ask them, I remember asking them, with different individuals, well, why is it your fault? And then when they would tell me what happened, to me it was not their fault at all, but there's no way I was going to try to convince them that it's not their fault.
Right.
Because I know that that's a losing endeavor, right? So I would just listen to what they had to say. In one case, the guy, the one individual that I'm talking about, his sister, he advised his sister not to marry somebody because he knew what this person was like. His sister didn't know when the guy was with his sister, he behaved one way, But when his sister was not around, then he behaved completely differently. And her brother would see that, and so he told her, don't marry this guy. Here's what the guy's like. Instead, she got mad at him and told him that he just doesn't want to see her being happy, that he's jealous.
Okay.
And when he insisted on it, like before she got married, and he said, you really should do it, she stopped talking to him. And it had been at least 8 years by the time he told me about it. And she refused, even if he called her, she wouldn't answer the phone, she wouldn't talk to him.
Wow.
So he felt that it was his fault, and he felt really guilty about it. So that's what I mean by holding on to guilt. But every time I thought about the situation, even now when I think about the situation, I said, how could I be his fault? Well, maybe because he
didn't try hard enough?
No, maybe he kept it. No, not
Oh,
try hard. He shouldn't have done it in the first place, is what he's saying.
Oh, I see.
He should have just left it alone, because in that way, sister wouldn't have gotten upset at him, and she
And they'd
wouldn't
still
think.
be communicating?
Exactly.
I see.
Right? So the question then is he right, or is what he's saying accurate? We've been taught by the Zen Masters not to judge anything.
Right.
So I don't spend my time on whether or not his action was right or wrong. And that's why even when he told me the story, I was just quiet. I had nothing to say. I was just listening. That's the type of guilt I'm talking about. That's definitely holding him back from enjoying a relationship with his sister. You didn't have that type of guilt. That's why I don't see it as a life lesson in your case.
Got it.
It's just regular guilt. If there's such a thing compared to this type, that's a life lesson.
Okay. That makes
You
sense.
follow
So
that?
now how does someone overcome that if that's something that they're dealing with?
Well, one of the things you can do is, in the physical realm, right? We're talking about the physical realm. People normally believe that they should go and apologize to the person, right? Somehow have an apology session of some kind, if there's such a thing. But they should apologize. And by doing that, then everything, you have a talk, right? Go and talk to the person, get it out, you guys get back on the same page, everything's fine, because that's how humans think.
Got it.
In his case, he tried that, but then she wouldn't answer the phone, so then it's not going to work. Or she refused to talk to him. And that's why he keeps holding on to the guilt, because the things that he knows he should try,
He's done it.
and they don't work, right? They're not
Right.
effective. In the spiritual realm, which is where we operate, there are things you can do to still be able to resolve that situation and those emotions, and then move on. I mean, we wouldn't talk about it here because it's too long, right? But
And it's also specific per person.
that's correct. Okay? So, but guilt, mostly, by the way, it also has to do with fear, right? Because the reason why you feel guilty, or the more you feel guilty, then you become afraid of something happening or not happening. So that becomes a trigger for fear as well. So guilt and fear, they're kind of cahoots. They work together, pretty much. Does that make sense? Do you
Yes,
follow
it
what I'm
makes
saying?
sense.
So, for us, if you're unable to, in his case, he wasn't able to personally take care of this with his sister, at least he could forgive himself. He could learn self-forgiveness, which is a very tough thing for people, because people always say that it's easier for them to forgive other people than forgiving themselves. But if you start by forgiving yourself, then it's much easier to forgive somebody else, because you know what it feels like to be forgiven. But people deal with it backwards, like, oh, let me forgive these people. But me, no, I can't forgive myself. So if you forgive somebody, you don't forgive yourself, there is no true forgiveness. So the guilt will still be there. Because remember that where did the guilty feeling come from?
From your own behavior and thoughts,
Right? From you.
right?
So even if you go and forgive somebody, you still have those thoughts. They're not gone.
Or even if they forgive you,
You still have the thoughts.
You still
or
have
the
to-
emotions.
work through that.
Exactly.
Okay.
And until you forgive yourself, that's not taken care of. So it goes back when you ask me, how do you deal with it? It's forgiveness, but most importantly, self-forgiveness. And we have tools to help people with that as well.
Okay.
So the next one now is health.
Health.
If you have you've chosen a life lesson of health, what do you expect the person to be dealing with?
Ooh, a lot of health challenges, like babies who are born with health issues, or individuals who develop chronic illness during their lifetime, or maybe they just have a lot of repeated sickness that happens throughout their lives.
Okay.
That's what I would think.
So you're thinking like chronic illnesses. No.
Well, no, just even like when I was a kid and had strep throat 3 times in 1 year, just someone who's constantly
okay.
getting sick a lot.
Okay. So going back to illness.
Right.
What about, for example, someone that has challenges maintaining their proper weight?
Yes, that would be a health challenge.
Okay? But individuals might not think about it that way.
Right.
Right? But it is a health challenge because the physical body is out of balance. Makes sense? You have someone that gets angry a lot.
Okay.
You might say there's no life lesson such as anger, but there's life lessons called balance. Because health. Because if you don't balance your emotions, then what happens?
Then it affects your physical body.
But it also affects you, your attitude, right?
Right.
So you could be angry, you could be sad. One moment you're angry, one moment you're sad, one moment you're happy. You know?
Would this also include mental health?
Well,
I would think
how
so.
did it end?
Health. So anything mentally going on as well, that's an imbalance.
Mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, the 4 lower bodies.
Okay.
All right? So if you tend to be, if you have a lot of mood swings, that's emotional health. Because you're emotionally imbalanced, right?
Right.
If you find yourself depressed one moment, sad the next moment, or frustrated, upset, and
Or
always
super
screaming.
happy and then crying the next.
Exactly. Emotional health, right? Or mental health. Now, mental health, we're not saying that you've lost your mind. We're just saying that mentally there's some instability there. So if you have those challenges, then you know that you chose, right? That in this lifetime, you have to then bring balance to yourself, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically, because you chose health lessons, or to be healthy, how to be healthy as a lesson for you. Are you
Okay.
with me?
Yes.
So now, let's see. We always say, and I know Mother Mary has told us this, especially in our IWP program, right? That
IWP, for those of you who are just hearing that for the first time, is the Ideal Weight Program. Okay.
right, that's correct. So it helps you maintain your ideal weight.
Right.
It's not a diet program. All right, it's helped you with your weight. Now, she's always said that we have to have our 4 lower bodies balanced.
Right.
And when we do that, then we grow spiritual, right? We become that true spiritual being. We know who we are, who our true self is. So the importance then of having balance in our health is that it helps us to grow spiritually. It helps us to get to know who we really are. Right? And now how do we do that? Well, we have tools for that too, right? But it's all about staying again balanced. As Gautama Buddha said, you walk the middle way.
Correct.
Now, how do you do that? It's about, what do we call that? Not going to the extremes.
It's moderation.
Moderation. Right? It's all about moderation. Staying balanced. And now, if you need more details on that, we'll share that with you. But again, it's too long to do here. Our next one is judgment.
Judgment. Okay. Judgment. That would be constantly, literally just judging situations and people all the time.
Or yourself.
Or yourself, yes, true. Yep, always labeling individuals. I used to do that. Used to judge people, especially in school. Oh, you're going to go down to you know where because of the way you're living your life. And yes,
The Catholic thing.
Oh, yes.
Right. But then other ways of judging is what? If you don't agree with somebody,
Right.
you might say the person is dumb, right? Or you might say, oh, this person doesn't care about their kids, because you might hear the person screaming at the kids or raising their voice, right? And
Right.
you take it as them screaming at their kids. If people don't behave the way we expect them to,
Yes.
then what do?
We judge them.
We judge them, right?
We label them. Yep.
You know, for example, if like the way you dress, you don't wear tight clothing, right?
Right.
So you go out there, you see a lady in tight clothing. What would you do in the past? I don't know if you've done it
In the past, yes, in the past. When I know, especially in high school, I would look at them and say, "Oh, she's dressed like a slut."
Excuse me? You
Yes.
said that? We're recording this.
I know. I'm trying to give an example that
Nice.
someone could understand, relate to. I
Oh, I
mean,
don't want to hear that word. Boy. Anyway.
I would think the woman was dressed very promiscuously.
Okay.
Is that a better
Thank you.
word?
Yes, it is. Right. So by doing that, you're judging, right?
Yes.
But then whomever is dressing that way, it's because that's what she feels comfortable with. And just because you don't dress that way doesn't mean that the way the other person dresses is wrong. It just means that that's not your preference. And that's just the way it is. But then many individuals tend to judge. They want to compare, but compare in the sense that their perspective is better than somebody else's. And it's the same to religion, right? You know, we're taught as Catholics. Being Catholic is the best that you can do. Other the religions, they don't matter because they're wrong.
Right.
Well, that's judging. And we know that that's wrong already right now. I say that in the sense not to judge the Catholic Church, but we know, based on everything we know, that it's not accurate.
Right.
And so we don't follow that. Yeah. So how do you deal with that? Well, to avoid judging, you look at something and take it for what it is. You know, I always say that when someone tells me something, and you always tell me this, I just take it for what it is, right?
Face value. You don't read into anything. You don't try and figure it out. There's no hidden message behind
Right.
it. It's just face value.
You tell me this, that's what it means. I never go, I wonder what they really mean.
No.
I wonder what they're trying to say. No, whatever you told me, that's what you told me, and I'm
Yep.
done. And that's the way it should be. Leave it alone. Whatever it is, that's what it is. There is no good or bad. You know, there is no right or wrong. It just is. And when you can do that, then the judging will stop. All right.
Okay.
Let's go to relationships.
Relationships.
Why you go like that?
Oh, because I hear about that one a lot. I hear about it and read about it a lot.
Okay.
You know, someone who goes through an abusive relationship. I just ended one abusive relationship. I thought I was getting another great person. Now I'm in another abusive relationship. Why does this keep happening to me? Or I have friends. Things seem to be going fine. Then all of a sudden I realize they're using me and they're talking badly about me. So then I let go of them. And then I make new friends and then they do the same thing. There's always something.
So what does that tell you?
That their challenge in this life to learn a lesson from are relationships and how to work through that. And
Build better relationships.
yes.
Right? And it's said that when you're in a relationship with anybody, right? Whatever the relationship is, the thing that you see that you don't like about that person is you holding up a mirror and you're seeing what you are lacking. Right? And the first time I was told that, I was stunned. I'm like, what? So if you see somebody say that person's lazy, that's telling you, think about it. Maybe you're the one that's lazy, and that's why it bothers you, because you're seeing a reflection of the thing, of your weakness. All right? If the person is too loud, okay, why is the person too loud? Maybe it's something that you want to do, but secretly you don't want to do it because you don't do it because you're afraid of how people will look at you. You might get judged. So those are the things you should look at. That when you look at someone and that person just bothers you, and that's why your relationship doesn't work, it's probably because that's something that you need to work on, you need to improve on.
Or even individuals I've seen who've written about how they get into a relationship and the other person always ends up cheating on them. So the lesson there would be to really love yourself, and then you'll find someone who will be the same as you.
I like what you said there, right? Because first of all, nobody can cheat on you, right?
Right.
Come on, right? Nobody cheats on anybody. If someone decides to go have a relationship with somebody else, then That's what they're doing. That's not a reflection on you. It just so happens that whatever you're providing to that person, it's not enough. What can you do about that? It just tells you, okay, let me see what it is that's missing about me. Am I not caring enough? What is it that I could be missing? That's what we do then. We don't look blaming ourselves or anything. We just look to see,
what is it that I have to work on to become a better person for the next relationship?
Or what lesson is here to learn? It's not about what do I have to work on. It's more about what lesson is there. Because it might not be something that you need to work on. It's just a lesson. What did you miss? Whatever that might be, right?
Got it.
See, we don't go and take responsibility for something that we've never done. So what you're saying is every time something comes up, a lesson comes up, it's because you've done something wrong.
Yes.
That's not necessarily so. No, a lesson could be where, here's a lesson you're supposed to learn from this. But it doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong. It's just something that's been pointed out to you that you never noticed before. You'll be like me when we met, and to this day you still laugh about it, that every time I see a woman drinking or smoking, what's my reaction?
I can't believe she's doing that.
And then what do you always tell me?
They're women. They do the same things that men do.
And even when you say it now, I still don't believe it, right?
That's right.
No, that's a woman.
There's no way women can do that.
They don't do things like, they're very respectful. They don't do things like that.
Women are like angels.
And for whatever reason, that's just how I see it. And to this day, every time I see a woman smoking or drinking, it just throws me off. All right? So what's my life lesson there? It's like you said, I should just see everybody as, I guess, they smoke or drink. I don't know. But that would be right?
No, but you have an immaculate concept about everyone. You think the purest form of everyone that you meet and see.
But not really, because when I see a guy smoke, I'm not surprised.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
If I see a guy drink, I'm like,
men do that, but women don't do it.
Bingo. So
your life lesson is to learn that women do it too?
Well, that's a good one there, see? And the lesson we need to discuss that off this video.
Off camera.
So, again, the bottom line is that normally when something comes up, you look to just review, okay, what lesson am I supposed to learn from that? It's not about what is it that you need to work on.
Got it.
Because you might take that as, what is it I'm doing wrong? And I think that's when people get depressed and frustrated because they think they're doing all these things that are wrong.
And that's not the case. No. There just might be a lesson, be aware of this for next time.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. It's just like me with the women thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about it, we still have to talk about it some more so I can get the lesson from that. So I never thought about that as well. That's a life lesson. I never thought about it that way. But there is a lesson there that I'm missing. Okay, so self-esteem is the last one.
Self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't...
The thing about self-esteem is this, right? That you'll find yourself, if you're on this journey to learn your life lesson based on self-esteem, you'll find yourself deflated a lot. You'll find yourself discouraged a lot. Like your self-worth and confidence will be shot. Somebody will discourage you from doing something, make you feel like you're not worth anything. Well, they don't make you feel that way, but you
allow yourself to feel that way.
Right? So you feel like, oh wow, I can't do anything right. What's wrong with me? I'm so dumb. How could I not know that? And somebody might even tell you that you're so dumb, or you're not worth this, and they'll just you'll have situations like that. And whenever things that come up, then you realize one of the things I chose from my life lesson this lifetime is self-esteem, because these situations here are showing me that that's what I need to work on. See, so then once you recognize it, don't fall for it, right? You don't get all upset about it. You say, I recognize one of the life lessons I'm supposed to work on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So then what do you do about it?
I would think self-love. The more you learn to love yourself, you become more confident. And I think that would build the self-esteem.
Well, all that works.
Okay.
We have separate life lesson for those already. So with this, what you do is for self-esteem, you must learn that you're here to overcome.
Okay. So does that mean facing the challenges at hand, or what is it? What exactly is it?
No, you overcome things. So for example, someone tells you that you're a dummy. You know that you're not. and you know that you will succeed. No matter what someone tells you, you know you're better than that.
Okay.
That's what I mean by overcoming. All right,
Got
so they
it.
tell you, you are so stupid. Well, you know you're not. So you don't let that get you down. That's just somebody's opinion. Who knows why they have that opinion? It really doesn't matter to you, right?
Right.
What you do is you remind yourself that you're unique. God built you unique. He created you uniquely. And when you embodied to accomplish a very special purpose. And that's your purpose only. And you're here to succeed in getting that done. You don't need that person to tell you, well, you do need them to tell you that, because that's what gets you to learn that lesson so you can move on, right? So you do need that person. Now, people in the normal physical realm, they'll say, I don't need you to tell me that, but that's not true. You do need that person to tell you that, because they were supposed to tell you that was part of the agreement you had.
So you could work on that lesson and overcome.
Get you fired up, right? And the most important thing to remember is this. Any feelings of you feeling inferior to somebody, always remember this, it's an illusion. It's not real, because it's just you feeling that way. Now, other people might try to convince you that you're inferior to them, but their words don't mean anything, because you know that God made us in His own image, and so we're all perfect, and we're all equal. So whenever you start to feel inferior to anybody, whenever you feel like you're not as good as somebody, you're not worth as much as somebody, know that it's all in the mind. It's just an illusion. You are made in the image of God. God is perfect, so are you.
Okay.
We're done.
Awesome. Well, I think that gives, me for sure, a lot to think about, to be looking at what lesson I could be learning with different situations that I go through, and this is going to be fun for me.
As long as you remember that these are life lessons that we chose, right?
Right.
We weren't forced to do these things. These are things that God allowed to happen to us, and we don't go through these by ourselves. We're sent to earth. The Ascended Masters know, and the Karmic Board, they know, and our spiritual team know what we need to deal with. And they're here to support us. So even though we might feel lonely, we might feel alone, like we're going through something by ourselves, that doesn't happen. And that's why, as we learn to strengthen our communication with them, then the journey becomes easier and smoother. All we have to do is follow what they guide us to do. And if we don't know how to do it yet, that's where 190 Vision comes in. We can help you with the guidance, and then you start getting the training. So after a while, you don't need to contact us. You can do it yourself.
That's right. Okay. We'll see you in the next video. Remember to subscribe and like this video. Join the Facebook group 190 Vision to connect with others on the same journey. Get help by visiting our website 190vision.com. Support the 190 Vision mission by clicking on the Donate button, which is at the bottom of each page of our website.